All right, we're about to take a deep dive into some of the most vital real estate in your entire body, your chest. But this isn't just going to be a lecture. Nope, it's a pop quiz. I've got 5 questions lined up to see how well you know the incredible machinery humming away inside your thoracic cavity. You ready to test your knowledge? Let's get started. Go ahead, take a deep breath. Feel that? Feel your heart beating? There is a hugely complex and beautiful machine in there, working tirelessly for you every single second. But how much do you actually know about it? Let's find out together. Doesn't matter if you're an anatomy whiz or just a little curious, I promise you're about to learn something fascinating. So first up, we're talking about the engine of life itself, breathing. I mean, think about it. We do this thousands and thousands of times a day, usually without giving it a single thought. But what's the main muscle that's making it all happen? Okay, here it is, question number 1. When you take a breath in, that's inspiration, which one of these muscles is doing most of the heavy lifting? Is it A, your abs, the rectus abdominis, B, the diaphragm, C, the internal intercostals, D, the external intercostals, or E, the transversus abdominis? Go on, take a second and lock in your answer. If you said B, the diaphragm, you are absolutely correct. You can kind of picture it like this big dome-shaped parachute at the bottom of your rib cage. When you inhale, it contracts and flattens out, which pulls your lungs down, creating this vacuum that just sucks air right in. It is truly the unsung hero of every single breath you take. So what about those other muscles then? Well, things like your abs, the rectus abdominis, they definitely have a role, but it's mostly when you forcefully breathe out. Think about blowing out birthday candles or coughing. So the main takeaway here is pretty simple. Breathing in is an active job led by the diaphragm, but breathing out, well, that's usually just passive. The muscles relax and air flows out. On to question 2. Okay, so your lungs are constantly moving, right? Expanding, contracting, expanding, contracting. What is it that lets them move so smoothly without getting stuck? What's the main job of the pleural fluid? Is it A, to stop the lungs from collapsing? B, to protect you from infection, C, to help with gas exchange, D, to lubricate and reduce friction, or E, to increase pressure in the chest? And the answer is D. It's all about lubrication. Imagine you have 2 pieces of glass, and you put a thin film of water between them. They just glide over each other effortlessly, right? That's exactly what pleural fluid does for your lungs and your chest wall. Without it, every single breath would be a gritty, painful struggle. It's an amazing design. Now, you might have been tempted by some of the other answers. So what does prevent your lungs from just collapsing in on themselves? Well, that's the job of a special substance called surfactant. And where does the actual magic of swapping oxygen for carbon dioxide happen? That's way down deep in these tiny little air sacs called the alveoli. So you see, 3 totally different jobs handled by 3 different specialists. Okay, we've covered the engine of breath. Now let's switch gears and talk about the superhighway that transports all that vital oxygen around. You guessed it, we're moving on to your heart and circulatory system. Question number 3. Your heart is an incredible pump. We all know that. But once blood gets loaded up with fresh oxygen from the lungs, which specific chamber has the critical, massive job of sending that oxygen-rich blood out to every other part of your body? And that absolute powerhouse is the left ventricle. This chamber is the undisputed heavy lifter of the heart. Its muscular walls are way thicker than any other chamber, and for good reason. It has the monumental task of generating enough force to push blood to every single cell, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. So let's just trace that path real quick. First, that bright red, oxygen-rich blood zips over from the lungs and pours into the left atrium. That's step 1. From there, it drops down into the super strong left ventricle. And then, bam! With one mighty squeeze, the ventricle blasts that blood out into the aorta, which is the main highway to the rest of your body. It's just a beautifully efficient system. Okay, so we've pumped all that fresh blood out. But what goes out must come back, right? The used, deoxygenated blood from your chest wall and organs needs a ride back to the heart. So, question 4 is all about the return trip. Which major vein is the main drainage pipe for the thoracic region? And the answer might be one you're not super familiar with, the azygos vein. While other veins like the jugular get all the attention, the azygos is this amazing collector system running up your spine. It gathers up all that deoxygenated blood from your chest and neatly funnels it right back into the superior vena cava to start the whole process over again. It's a critical but often overlooked piece of your circulatory plumbing.
All right, time for our final question. And for this one, we're going to get really specific. We're zooming in to find a precise anatomical landmark, a super important intersection deep, deep inside your airway.
Okay, so your windpipe, right, the trachea, it runs down your neck, but then it has to split into two branches, one for your left lung and one for your right. The question is, at exactly which vertebral level does this critical fork in the road happen? Is it at T1, T2, T5, T7, or T10?
And the answer, drumroll please, is T5, smack dab in the middle of your thoracic spine. A surprisingly specific and really important location.
Now, you might be thinking, who cares? But believe me, this isn't just a piece of trivia. This split has a name. It's called the carina. And for doctors, it is a hugely important landmark. When they're performing procedures like a bronchoscopy, knowing that the carina is right there at the T5 level is absolutely critical for navigating the airways safely. It's a lifesaver.
And that's a wrap on our quiz. 5 questions, 5 key systems inside your chest. So how'd you do? Whether you got a perfect score or learned something new on every single question, let's do a quick-fire recap of the big takeaways.
So what did we learn today? Let's run through it. 1. The diaphragm is the superstar muscle that powers every breath you take in. 2. Pleural fluid is the super slick lubricant that lets your lungs glide around smoothly. 3. The left ventricle is the heart's strongest chamber, pumping blood to your whole body. 4. The azygos vein is the key drainage system for your chest. And finally, 5. Your trachea splits right at the T5 vertebra. Got it? Good.
You know, it is just wild to think about. All of this stuff and so much more is happening inside you right this second, and you don't have to lift a finger or even think about it. It really leaves you with a final thought, doesn't it? What other amazing, mind-boggling systems are at work inside you, silently keeping you alive and well? The human body truly is a universe of wonders. Thanks for exploring it with me.